Obviously, BSA Act, golden thread is going to be a big issue in the future. I'm not quite certain whether practices realise how big an issue it's going to be. How does Atvero work with the golden thread? How does it help practices adhere to the new legislation and probably upcoming legislation?
So really, one of the core tenets of Atvero is maintaining a complete history of your project information. So what we're talking about is the information you're generating and the information you're receiving, putting that into one place and keeping it for the long term. So that really relates to the Building Safety Act, perhaps the first bit really of the information you're creating rather than the information you're receiving. But even that can play against each other in terms of how our decisions being made. So what the Building Safety Act is trying to do, I believe, is make it so that in the future, if you have a problem like the cladding of high-rise buildings, you can go back and you can say, okay, when we made the decision to use this sort of material or when we use this sort of structure, this is what our thinking was and this is why we did it. And so what you really need to do is capture that decision-making process. Now, what you started with at the beginning and what you end up with at the end doesn't really capture the decisions you made in between. You may have come up with multiple revisions or versions of what you wanted to do. You may have changed your mind halfway through the project. So really for me, Atvero is about, because you can capture and store every revision, every email, every discussion that you had in a project, then should you need to come back and revisit it in 5, 10, 15 years, it'll be very easy to discover it because our searchability is going to say, okay, if you've got a cladding related question, find me every document that's related to cladding and Atvero will pull it up for you. Find me every email that referred to cladding and Atvero will help you discover those emails by doing that search. So to me, it's about making sure you're capturing all the information that you generated related to a project and making it available for the long term.